and and I like it as well. And then she said that she's got the one she adds into it. She said, when I'm not sure, me too, I will die. When I'm not sure. And there's a lot of these kind of things. So it's it becomes like you practice walking meditation. While doing walking meditation, you do death contemplation at the same time. And so death contemplation it's a very, very powerful. I mean, that's actually something we teach more often than these other ones, perhaps. And this thing, well, I must be pardoned and separated from all I hold dear and beloved, it sort of goes with that death contemplation, right, isn't it? But it's interesting thing here, when I was translating into Finnish, and I was looking how Bhikkhu Bodhi translated. I don't want to now open the Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation. Obviously, it's very, very close what Bhante Suchado has translated. But he put everyone and everything, and then I looked in the commentaries why did he put everyone and everything, and then he says in the commentaries that he says this word holds it in there that it actually means also that everything within that sort of how you look at the word. So it's not you won't be just separated everyone you love, but everything you hold dear to, whether it's your job, whether it's your house, your hobby, whatever you hold dear, you will be always separated. All of those things which your value, so to speak, or what what is this kind of worldly value we put into it. And obviously the last one also, which quite often we don't contemplate enough, that I'm the owner of my deeds and heir to my deeds. Deeds are my womb, relative, my refuge. And you can see the Pali there, the kamma, sakomhi. So the kamma sako plus the amhi makes that into an action, into that it's literally, it's just you are the property of something, that you are the womb. You come from, for example, here. Sorry, I'm going all over the place. But yoni, for example, if you click at the yoni, the yoni there, the kamma yoni, that's where you come from. It's literally your womb. Your kamma is your womb. That's where you get born from. So all of these things, it's very interesting to look at the Pali, and when you're translating things, for example, and you start looking at these words very carefully, and you're trying to make up what would be a good translation, and you see, they have Bhante Suchado has translated "These are my womb," and then but the Pali word is just one word, kamma yoni, but it's the yoni really, it comes from that idea that it's literally a womb of where the babies come from. So anyway, so it's quite it's good to contemplate. So whatever actions you do, you use your will to make actions. That's what you inherit in the future, and not just in the here and now. In the next lives, they are the ones who are. They are the relatives who take you on next life. They are that's what you inherit, basically. So it's quite often. We can just sort of, when you read these, quite often you just sort of close over, I'm the owner of my deeds, I'm the heir to the deeds, these are my womb, my relative, my refuge. They are you always have to remember that Buddha used the language very carefully. And there's, obviously it's a way how they have to put it, because these were kept in memory. They didn't write these down, so they were they had to have multiple repetition in these things in the suttas when the Buddha was saying this. But these actually have a lot of value when he said something. So you are the owner of your deeds and you inherit them. Is there anything what's come so far? Yes. You're gonna pass. Elle is gonna pass you the microphone. Try to keep them short, because otherwise we're gonna go forever with the, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen another version of.
It's not on. Is it on? Tap it.
Yeah, light is on.
Okay, now it's on. Okay.
Yeah, I've seen another version, translation of this. I'm just wondering whether the word karma there is just action, or is it karma? I'm born of my karma. Karma is my relative. Karma as a concept, or just the word action?
It is, well, I mean, you inherit your actions. So, if you do an action, whatever, the intention behind the action, what matters. And then you do that whatever action it is, even like it starts with your mind even your mind, that's where you start with these karmic actions. Well, then whatever comes out of that, that's what you inherit, whether good or bad. I'm not sure if I'm answering the...
I'm just wondering the word itself, the word karma,
yeah,
translated here to action.
Yeah.
And I've seen it being translated as karma, which is much more than just action. It's thoughts, intentions,
well, I mean,
speech.
Yeah, I'm sure, perhaps, but then I don't know why Bande Suchada would have... so you mean left it untranslated? You would prefer to leave it untranslated? Did I get it correct? I'm still missing? That instead of like, I'm the owner of my kamma, heir to my kamma. Mm-hmm. So then, yes, you would leave it untranslated, that in your opinion. But yes, and that's what I did actually in Finnish. Because I was just toying with this idea, like, do I translate it this way? And when I was teaching it, I talked to I was doing it online a few weeks ago, and I talked to the Finnish people there, and I said, should I leave it untranslated as kamma? And they actually preferred it, because they said then they understand, more carefully what the Buddha was teaching here. So there is validity to that, like in these kind of cases, to leave them untranslated.
Thank you.
Yeah. Second question was somewhere. Did somebody had a hand up? No? Okay.
Sorry, I've just got a question as well.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Just a bit of a weird one. I guess with the linguistics, is karma sakomi like the genitive case of karma?
Okay. I'm not good with those. I can find it for you, but we'll leave it there, whether it's genitive or not. That I don't know.
Okay. And I guess the other question was, if that is genitive, doesn't matter if it is or isn't, but is then karma dayado another like case declension of karma? Yeah. But then the rest are not different cases? Is that the correct way of reading it?
Wow, you really like, that's nice. You like languages, and I do as well. And I did analyze all of those things, but I don't remember now that whether they were the different cases or the same case, and whether it was genitive. But I come back to that. I can look it up easily. Yeah.
Okay.
Afterwards.
Thank you.
Is there another one? Yep. Did you want to ask? No? No, okay. Never mind. Okay, good. But it is... No? Yeah, okay. I can repeat it.
I don't know how to explain it.
Just wait a second. Sorry, I didn't see it.
By the way, I don't know if it makes that much difference, but it's interesting that the Buddha repeated there, a woman or man, a layperson or renunciate. What does the layperson then give there? Like, why would you repeat that? And then the renunciate, by the way, is the Abhiṇhapaccavekkhitabbaṭhāna, means monastics, monks and nuns. Yes.
Well, I don't know how to explain it, but there was a part where you said that the other people in your life when you die take charge of you. No. Was there something like that?
No. What I'm trying to say that your whatever you do, that's what you inherit in the next lifetime. Those are your relatives, which sort of take you, like those are the relatives.
That's what I mean, yeah.
There's this kind of idea in Buddhism, they had this kind of poetic idea quite often, many places being repeated, that when you go to a place and let's say you're crossing a desert, and then you go across the desert and your relatives, welcome you back, and it's like, oh, you came back healthy and you didn't lose your life, or you didn't, and then that's sort of, but there is this kind of poetic idea that you actually, what welcomes you in the next lifetime is your relatives are the ones like welcomes you is your karma again. So you hope to do good karma, so then your relatives are good relatives. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so then we're gonna go to the advantages. Why would you do that? So then we go to the next part. What is the advantage for a woman or a man, a layperson or renunciate, of often reviewing this? I am liable to grow old. I'm not exempt from old age. There are sentient beings who, intoxicated with the vanity of youth, do bad things by the way of body, speech, and mind. Reviewing this subject often, they entirely give up the vanity of youth, or at least reduce it. This is the advantage for a woman or a man, a layperson or a renunciate of often reviewing this. I am liable to grow old. I'm not exempt from old age. What is the advantage of often reviewing this? I am liable to get sick. I'm not exempt from sickness. There are sentient beings who, drunk on the vanity of health, do bad things by the way of body, speech, and mind. Reviewing this subject often, they entirely give up the vanity of health, or at least reduce it. This is the advantage of often reviewing this. I am liable to get sick. I am not exempt from sickness. What is the advantage of often reviewing this? I am liable to die. I'm not exempt from death. There are sentient beings who, drunk on the vanity of life, do bad things by the way of body, speech, and mind. Reviewing this subject often, they entirely give up the vanity of life, or at least reduce it. This is the advantage of often reviewing this. I am liable to die. I'm not exempt from death. What is the advantage of often reviewing this? I must be parted and separated from all I hold dear and beloved. There are sentient beings who, aroused by desire and lust for their dear and beloved, do bad things by way of body, speech, and mind. Reviewing this subject often, they entirely give up the desire and lust for their dear and beloved, or at least reduce it. This is the advantage of often reviewing this. I must be parted and separated from all I hold dear and beloved. What is the advantage of often reviewing this? I am the owner of my deeds and heir to my deeds. Deeds are my womb, my relative and my refuge. I shall be heir to whatever deeds I do, whether good or bad. There are sentient beings who do bad things by the way of body, speech, and mind. Reviewing this subject often, they entirely give up the bad conduct, or at least reduce it. This is the advantage for a woman or a man, a layperson or renunciate, often reviewing like this. I am the owner of my deeds and heir to my deeds. Deeds are my womb, my relative and my refuge. I shall be the heir of whatever deeds I do, whether they are good or bad. So these are the advantages of reviewing this often. And if we go, hang on. So okay, advantage. So interesting thing here, Bandha Suchado is translated intoxicated with the vanity of youth, with the and then vanity of health and all those. Why does he use the word intoxicated? So there is no really intoxications per se here, but the mada So like you see, like, I mean, it is in if you look at the dictionary, if you push the madena, so it's sort of the intoxication, it's indulging in vanity pride. But so he could have translated as like conceit of youth, for example. And it has the same meaning. But this is the same thing what we use in the precept of when you're drinking alcohol, right? It's the precept of not taking intoxicants. And the interesting thing about that is this is sort of like what it leads into this madena, like appa madena. You are heedful or not heedful. You are careful, you are with it or you're not with it. So you take intoxicating things and you lose something. You lose the appamado, you lose the heedfulness. And then the opposite is this madena. That's the opposite of like what you are aware of, you know. So and the same thing was like you are intoxicated by youthfulness. You are intoxicated by health. You're intoxicated by that you don't think that you're going to die. It's like you just go on and you don't think of it too much. And this reminded me of one of the sutta which I like, so I'm going to read a little bit from the other sutta. So let's see. And it's called Devaduta Sutta. So there is this famous sutta of messengers of the gods. And it's quite often when you know suttas and amongst the, I won't be showing there, so you don't see anything there, so just listen to me. We forget these things, and these are called these messengers of God, and they are, in Pali, they're Devadutas. Then the Buddha says, they are amongst these three messengers of gods. What three? Firstly, someone does bad things by the way of body, speech, and mind. When their body breaks up after death, they are reborn in a place of loss, bad place, the underworld, the hell. The wardens of hell take them by the arms, present them to King Yama, saying, "Your Majesty," the king. They go to the King Yama now. You're dead. You go and see the King Yama. Yama is the god of death. They take the wardens of hell, take them by the arms and present them to the King Yama, saying, "Your Majesty, this person did not pay due respect to their mother and father, ascetics and Brahmins, or honor the elders in the family. Your Majesty, punish them." Then the King Yama presses and grills about this person, about the first messenger of gods. So now we're going into the messengers of God. "My friend, did you not see the first messenger of the gods that appeared among the human beings?" They say, "I saw nothing." The King Yama, the king of death: "My friend, did you not see among human beings an elderly woman or man, 80, 90, or 100 years old, bent, double, crooked, leaning on the staff, trembling as they walk, ailing past their prime, with teeth broken, grey hair and scanty or bald, skin wrinkled and limbs splodgy?" They say, "Yeah, I saw that, sir." King Yama then says to them, "My friend, did it not occur to you, being sensible, a mature person, I too, I am liable to grow old. I'm not exempt from old age. I better do good by the way of body, speech, and mind." That's, by the way, the Kalyanam Karomi is they do good. But it, again, with that relates to that idea of karma. Now I'm alive, I better do good things by body, speech, and mind. Now that I'm alive, do good things. They say, so this person says, "I couldn't, sir, I was negligent." So what does the person is telling that the king of death? He said, "I didn't see that's easy," but then pama dasang bante. So they were they were pamada, they were heedful, they were heedless. They didn't pay attention. And that comes here with the idea of madena. It's the same kind of thing. You were heedless. The vanity were intoxicated by youth. Therefore, you don't think about death. So it's nice to sort of like read these things and start seeing these words and how they appear in different places. So then the King Yama says to them, "My friend, because you were negligent, you didn't do good by way of body, speech, and mind. Indeed, these people in this hell, they will punish you to fit your negligence. The bad deed wasn't done by your mother, father, brother, or sister. It was done by you, friend. It was done by friends and colleagues, by relatives and kin, by deities or by ascetics and Brahmins. That bad deed was done by you alone, and you alone will experience the result." And here the word is papa kamma, so you do papa kamma, so that you do bad kamma, you do bad actions. But the interesting thing is what the Yama, the king of death, is saying, that you sort of get punished because you weren't heedful, you didn't pay attention. I'm supposed to be kind, so to speak. And you alone will experience the result. Then the King Yama grills them about the second messenger of God. So there's 3 messengers of God. First there's like, did you see that person who's old? And then the second one. And they said, didn't you see the second messenger of God appear among human beings? And this person says, I didn't see anything. The king says, like, my friend, didn't you see among human beings a woman, a man, sick, suffering, gravely ill, collapsed in their own urine and feces, being picked up by some and put down by others? They say, yeah, I did see that. So that's the second. And then they said, there's like, and they said, my friend, didn't it occur to you, you being sensible and old enough person, that I too, I'm liable to get sick. I'm not exempt from sickness. I better do good by the way of body, speech, and mind. So these suttas, again, how it's interesting to see how they repeat each other different ways in different places. And then they says like, oh, no, sorry, I couldn't. I was negligent. I wasn't appamado. I was the opposite. I just didn't pay attention. And then it says again, like, well, you will experience the result because you were going to get sick, but you didn't pay attention. And then the third messenger of God, I'm going to go this, otherwise I don't get to the other sutta, but then the King Yama grills them, the third messenger. My friend, didn't you see the third messenger of gods that appears among human beings? They say, I saw nothing. The king says to them, my friend, did you not see among human beings a woman or a man dead for 1, 2, 3 days, bloated, livid, and festering? They say, I saw that, sir. The young King Yama then says, my friend, didn't it occur to you, being a sensible and mature person, that I too am liable to die? I'm not exempt from death. I better do good by body, speech, and mind now that I'm still alive. So it's an interesting sutta, that divine messengers, so Devatutas. So always keep in mind the Devatutas. So here is like, you can see in this, now we are back into the sutta and you can read again that isn't it interesting that here the sentient beings were intoxicated by vanity youth. And it's like, you forget that now is the time to do good. That sort of goes with that. You intoxicated, or you forget you were going to lose the health. His youth, we're going to lose the health more and more. We will get old. Will be separated. And then because of that, you just sort of like live and nothing, you don't pay attention to things. And that's why we get into arguments, others. Even though we love each other, we get into arguments, and there's like, you're doing bad karma by that. So the death, and there were beings, but this is also interesting then, and then I don't really know why, but there are sentient beings who are aroused by desire and lust for their dear and beloved, do bad things by way of body and speech and mind. I'm not sure what maybe I should have looked at more carefully or asked some questions from somebody who knows, but they're aroused by the desire and lust for the dear and beloved, do bad things by way of body and speech. But I think why didn't the Buddha said that we have attachment toward the dear and beloved, and then, but the desire and lust, chandaraga, so you entirely give up the desire and lust for the dear and beloved, or at least reduce it. This is the advantage of the reviewing this. I must be parted and separated from all I hold dear and beloved. And what is the advantage? You think about the deeds, the kamma, and then obviously with the reviewing, the thinking about often that I will inherit my kamma, that you give up bad conduct, doing bad things, or at least you reduce it slowly. You start, and you, from that other sutta I just read, you more and more leaning towards, well, instead of just in this sutta you say, I just try not to do bad things, but actually what you should be doing is putting effort into doing good. Just to refraining, it's not enough. Obviously, you refrain, you keep your morality high, but you should actively do good as well. And those are the you shall be heir of whatever deed you do, good or bad. Is there any questions there? Bill. Microphone. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, when the Buddha went forth, he also saw a fourth messenger, which was a samana.
Samana. Sorry, right? The fourth messenger being?
A samana, or a monk.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, sure. But in that you mean when he left home, you mean that's when he said the samana
or before he left home.
Before he left home, oh, sure. But it's, okay, yes. So that's the sort of
plus the fourth one.
Plus the fourth one, sure. When he was so that impelled him to seek, that maybe that is the way. Yeah, okay. So he saw a mendicant, yeah. Good.
And in some way, all this seems to say you've got to be mindful.
It does. But in a sense, it's mindfulness and reflection and all those, and that's why they go really hand in hand, being mindful. It's almost like being mindful means that you remember. And that's what comes into this idea of where a lot of these things come, we talk about the sati, the seventh factor of the Eightfold Path is samma sati, right mindfulness. What does it mean? It's almost like this, it comes with this right mindfulness, comes with this memory and remembering to do the right things. And that leads into, that awareness, that remember it's into right direction.
Yeah, the way I see it is if for sickness, for instance, you try and live a little bit more healthy, eating healthy foods, that sort of thing.
This should be more about, perhaps, but with the health, sure, maybe it's just sort of don't eat sausages every day. Perhaps exercise more, perhaps, but it's more pointing in the direction of that you lose that heedfulness, that no matter what I do, I will lose my health. No matter, even if you do yoga 3 times a day and you're vegan and whatnot, that those people would be more intoxicated about the health, these health freaks, so to speak. And so that would be really intoxicated. It's sort of because you feel I'm doing all these things and look, I'm so healthy, and was I'm excellent. It's hang on, no, you will lose it. And it's definitely that easy to forget in that when everything is going well, or you tell others like, oh, you just do this and you will get better. And so actually it's almost like when you have sicknesses in the body, it's almost like it is the messenger of the gods. It's like, what do you expected? Human body, you will get sick, right? So reflect and was like, well, this is what we get. Everyone around us will get sick, and it's like, it's not fun. This is the suffering, what the Buddha was teaching. That is the messenger of God.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I share?
Yeah.
I went to a retreat where they asked to repeat this in your mind many times a day, and I started to do, especially the one about that people and things that are beloved will change and be separated from me.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it very confronting.
Mm-hmm.
And at night I got very scared.
Mm-hmm.
I think had a dream about my husband dying.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really scared, woke up and so on. But the next morning I had so much peace.
Oh, okay.
So what happens is when you bring these things into your mind, you can actually see your attachment.
Yeah.
And fear comes, and in a way you have to let it go a little bit,
Yeah.
little by little.
Yeah.
And that then leads to a really good meditation.
Yeah, okay, well that's interesting, it happened. And that is actually quite often, I'm being a bit hesitant a few times to teach death contemplation, for example, on my retreats, because I sometimes you don't know what it brings up in people. And if you have tendency of getting depressed and having suicidal tendencies, it's a very scary as a teacher that like if there would be somebody like that in the audience. So I always I keep these days when I do it, just remind him, like, okay, we do death contemplation, and then I always go back to that with that towards the end, and remember, you are alive now. Now you are alive. Now you can do good things by body, speech, and mind. And it's like just. Even if we go we do like 1 hour death contemplation, and slowly we go through this kind of it's like I will die, somebody, and then somebody I love will die, and then everybody, or like neutral people, I will die, and then you keep expanding, and you just seeing this sort of like everybody's dying, and then I like to bring it back in that idea that but now we are alive, and then it's like, isn't it nice to be alive and all that? So I try to remind people that it's a positive thing actually. And that's what death contemplation should bring, or indeed all of these, that it should actually bring, happy feeling in your that kind of peacefulness. That's like, oh yeah, but now we can take care of each other.
But I think there's a process before the peace comes. So you had to face that, which might be a bit unpleasant.
Yes, but yeah, the nice thing about it, it's sort of like once you are living the life, what is a meaningful life. For example, for me being a monk, is that when I do death contemplation, it comes to me very naturally. It's like, wow, at least I'm doing what I want to do. Really, it's like it's this. I'm doing very meaningful things in life, and it elates in my mind very naturally, that the death contemplation. And but we always keep repeating people, if it doesn't bring, if it takes you to a negative place, see it as danger. That's a wrong way to do it, and seeing this like separated from others as well. Like if it brings you in this kind of place of calmness, and realize that why are we bickering to each other? Let's just be kind to each other, and then so it takes away those, or at least reduce that thing, and then you come home and you're like, well, I have good enough husband, right? It's not perfect, but good enough. It's like because I will be separated from them sooner or later. So let's just be kind to each other now. So it should bring that kind of idea. Mm.
Thank you.
Anything else? So So yeah, it's good to review it, and maybe I don't. Maybe I just keep going with this sutta because I don't want to keep going too long. Then the second part. Then that noble disciple reflects. It is not just me who is liable to grow old, not being exempt from old age, for all sentient beings grow old according to their nature, as long as they come and go, pass away, and are reborn. When they review this subject often, the path is born in them. They cultivate, develop, and make much of it. By doing so, they give up the fetters and eliminate the underlying tendencies. It is not just me who is liable to get sick, not being exempt from sickness, for all sentient beings get sick according to their nature, as long as they come and go, pass away, and are reborn. When they review this subject often, the path is born in them. They cultivate and develop and make much of it. By doing so, they give up the fetters, eliminate the underlying tendencies. It is not just me who is liable to die, not being exempt from death. For all sentient beings die according to their nature, as long as they come and go, pass away, and are reborn. When they review this subject often, the path is born in them. They cultivate, develop, and make much of it. By doing so, they give up the fetters and eliminate the underlying tendencies. It is not just me who must be parted and separated from all I hold dear and beloved, for all sentient beings must be parted and separated from all they hold dear and beloved, as long as they come and go, pass away, and are reborn. When they review this subject often, the path is born in them. They cultivate and develop and make much of it. By doing so, they give up the fetters, eliminate the underlying tendencies. It is not just me who shall be the owner of my deeds and heir to my deeds, for all sentient beings shall be the owner of their deeds and heir to their deeds, as long as they come and go, pass away, and are reborn. When they review this subject often, the path is born in them. They cultivate, develop, and make much of it. By doing so, they give up the fetters and eliminate the underlying tendencies. Interesting. What does he mean? That's probably... then, okay, we're so good. I wonder what that's... hello? Okay. So then you sort of expand this idea. It's not just me who will die. Everybody around me will get old, they get sick, they will die. Everyone is owner of the deeds, and everyone around me, they will be separated from the dear and beloved one. And when you often review this, so you start expanding this kind of like contemplation subject, and then you cultivate, you make much of it. And so it's nice that kind of like the idea of cultivation, make much of it. You often review it, bring it in your mind that like we just all the same, and then by that you give up the fetters. So you are moving away towards getting into deep meditations to begin with, and then it's like really to give up the fetters means that you're starting to be getting into deep meditation and getting into the being an enlightened one, and eliminate the underlying tendencies. That's the anusaya here. The underlying tendency is that it's like inherent inclination, dormant disposition towards propensity to. So the easiest way you can think about this, like anusayas, the underlying tendencies, are that it's, if you haven't, let's say you have anger, for example, and if something happens, you can get angry. You just deeply know it. Even though you're not angry now, you have the propensity, you have the underlying tendency that that's not been eliminated. But when you get further in the path, these are the things which are eliminated. You become a stream enter, for example. That kind of like these kind of underlying tendencies are more and more erased, not completely in the beginning, but the further you go on the path, then they are completely erased. Like somebody who's further in the path, they cannot get angry, for example. You know that that's being completely erased. These are one of those sort of knowings, what happens first of all, when you get into deep meditation, you do the contemplation and everything, all your defilements will be erased, sort of. They don't come up anymore. They just don't have anywhere to come to. And I did look what are all the different anusayas, and I'm just out of curiosity, I wanted to remind myself what they are, so I can read to you all the different anusayas. So we have first one is kamaraga, which is latent tendency or underlying tendency towards sensual desire. So if you like to people on a further path and they don't have the tendencies for sensual desire, they don't have. Then it is aversion or ill will or irritation. So basically angry. They cannot get angry. Tendency towards speculative views and dogmas, like was this the teachings, was that not the teachings? So you speculate things. It's like, are these Buddha's teachings or not? Tendency towards skeptical doubt about the Buddha, Dhamma, and the path. Did Buddha exist or not exist? Whether is Dhamma actually? What did he teach? The Dhamma is the Eightfold Path. Is the actual path out of it? Then is the tendency towards conceit or pride. So that we heard this so often, what Ajahn Brahm always says, that measuring of I am better, I'm worse, or I am equal, right? What keeps you away is like, you're always measuring. And then Ajahn Brahm always keeps it like, that's how you control something, you measure it. Is that, am I better, am I worse, or I'm equal? It's actually one of those underlying tendencies. We always look and say, oh, I'm not good enough, I cannot meditate, right? So this is actually one of those ones which really keeps you away from meditation. Nobody can meditate, I cannot meditate. Maybe the Buddha's teaching was like, I'm not sure, maybe this is just a religion, these are made up things, or they are all of these things. So these are the anusayas. And the last two, tendency towards a desire for continued existence or becoming. So there is this kind of desire, I want to be. And then there's the avijja, which is the tendency towards ignorance, the inability to see the Four Noble Truths. So that's why all of these things, they go in very much in hand, that you have these underlying tendencies. And when you're further in the path, you know that all of these things are first they are sort of like moving away, but then they are erased completely. But it's interesting, like that's why if you think somebody's enlightened, you can always go and poke them a little bit, see if they get angry. Not highly recommended, but then anyway, so that's one of the things where easy to see actually if somebody is enlightened or not. Sometimes I don't know, like where does it go? Like I see somebody's, if they would be frustrated, would they was like, or they're tired and frustrated, or So like, is that part of that? So that's you. These are the fetters and underlying tendencies. You cultivate it. Oh, and that's what I wanted to say. And the path is born in them. I like that. When they review this often, the path is born in them. And as obviously we know, the path is there, the maggo, and the path is really the Eightfold Path. So it's interesting, isn't it? The Buddha doesn't say that, meditate more and the path is born in you. It's like cultivating these things like this contemplation. And the Eightfold Path, you start, that it starts, is born in you. The path is born in you. You start seeing the path yourself. Okay, another round for questions before we go to the last. We have online questions for you. Does anybody have anything in all? No. Dear Ajahn, acknowledging the impermanence or reducing your attachment to your loved ones feels a bit sad. Are we meant to contemplate doing good and / loving them now? Will this encourage more attachment? reducing the attachment, the loved ones feels a bit sad. Perhaps, but we have to contemplate that if we don't reduce it now, well, the attachment, that strong attachment, it will be worse if we don't go towards it, when we don't sort of start seeing through the eyes of like clarity, like the Buddha saw that. And perhaps if the loved ones feels sad, well, then you have to start with yourself, and that's what actually I would say that's a better way of doing it. It's like you to see yourself that I will lose my health, I will get old, I will die. And the own death, quite often I feel that doesn't feel so sad. But the reducing attachment to your loved one feels a bit sad. It's a different kind of attachment we're talking about here. It's like to care about each other. It's just sort of this caring, and that attachment is like, it doesn't have to go in hand in hand, in sense like you can still care about something or someone without being attached. Like let's say you are attached by, you cannot, like there's this unhealthy attachment. And so you if you move away from that unhealthy attachment, you wouldn't like, oh, that's sad that I moved away from the unhealthy attachment. But it's almost like all of these attachments are in Buddhist, the way the Buddha saw, they are unhealthy attachment, but at least we are going towards healthier attachments, so to speak. But be attached to your goodness, be attached to the other people, seeing the good in others, and those kind of things. But we should cultivate. Are we meant to contemplate doing good and loving these people? Yes, you should contemplate doing. Definitely, that goes with the kamma. That now you are alive. Now you have health. Now all those things. Well, now is the time to do good by body, speech, and mind. Will this encourage more attachment? Again, there is healthy and unhealthy attachments, but the healthy attachments are attachment to being attached to the raft, so to speak, which takes you away from this, from the cycle of death, the birth and death. So what you are actually attached to, are you attached to suffering, unfortunately. It's sad, but true. Questions from the audience? Coming to an end. And then we can have more questions if there's nothing now. So now at the end, the Buddha goes into sort of poetry, if you say, like you could say. And so let's say what this kind of poetic at the end here is. For others, sickness is natural, and so are old age and death. Though this is how their nature is, ordinary people feel disgusted. Then the Buddha says, if I were to be disgusted with the creatures whose nature is such, it would not be appropriate for me, since my life is just the same. Living in such a way, I understood the truth without attachment. I mastered all vanities of health, of youth, and even life, seeing renunciation as a sanctuary. Zeal sprang up in me as I looked to extinguishment. Now I am unable to indulge in sensual pleasures. There is no turning back. I've committed to spiritual life. So these kind of poetic things are always really, really difficult to translate, and there's the Pali works a little bit differently, and there is actually a meter, so to speak, or there is a meter in the Pali, and translation, yes, we don't follow the meter. So when you start chanting, there's as you know, when you're chanting a Buddhist chant, quite often there is a certain kind of meter that can then, how do we go with it, and it sounds certain things. But what I would say here, that it's ordinary people feel disgust about, even those you know you will get old, you will know you will get sick, you know you will die, and others around you, and you feel disgusted about it. The Pali word there is jigujanti, loath, repulsed by it. And the Buddha says, well, but I can't be disgusted by it because I'm just the same. He was just a human. His life is just the same. That it's that would be wrong if I would be disgusted about it. And living in such a way that it's like you saw them as as it is. He understood the truth that being having we shouldn't have attachment to all these things, to life itself, even life, and so renunciation, nekamma. So the kamma is there again, but let's see what the nekamma is. The renunciation, rejection of sensual pleasures, right? So like sensual pleasures really, it means here, like if you look at the last word here, the spiritual life, the brahmacharino, and that's the same, it's actually the holy life, but that actually means that it's almost like a synonym renunciation for the nekamma. And it really means that you're becoming a monastic, and you become a don't have this kind of like, you move away from this sensual world. Buddha looked into extinguishment. So this is actually the Buddha is talking about here before he was the Buddha. So this is the Buddha before the Buddha. He contemplated. And that's why he was looking towards Nibbana. So he was looking towards that ending of all things. So this would be sort of like he remembers from his past before he got enlightened, that he sort of, he saw the sanctuary. And when he saw the sanctuary, the Nibbana, that then the zeal, the ahu, came up in him. So he said, like, then he realized that when he saw the Nibbana and he said this is the end of suffering, that was that he couldn't go back into this Kamaloka, in the world of five senses anymore. He completely had turned away from that, and he was going towards Nibbana. And so that gave him that tremendous sort of zeal, that going towards, I'm going towards Nibbana now. There's no turning back, so it's interesting that he knew it already, even though he wasn't enlightened. Okay, is there anything else on this last one? There's two at least.
Thank you. I find it interesting that the word fear doesn't appear here at all. The word disgusted, for example, I would think could be replaced with fear. The list of inclinations that you've read doesn't include it. Do you have anything to explain that? I would think a lot of people would be fearful of ill health or death rather than intoxicated with the idea of being healthy.
Yeah, well, you have to remember that this was it's almost like an elated thing, where the Buddha saw that, well, I have it no matter what. And then it's like, he's actually leaving it behind now. He's leaving all these things, like he won't get reborn anymore. So it gives him this kind of, it's like, wow, I've left behind this kind of this suffering. Okay, sure, in this lifetime he had to go through that, but that's the last time. Whereas everybody else have to do this over and over again. Fear, you wouldn't have a fear anymore of that. At this point of the path, you wouldn't have a fear of that, losing your health or dying. But so this is sort of, maybe that's in that sense is a bit past these ordinary people, what he's mentioned here, that for others the sickness and is natural and so on, old age and this and death, everybody will get these, but they are disgusted. Where is the disgusted? It's sort of like the other one is the shuns. You shun it. You don't want to think about it, right? It's sort of like you will get sick, but you shun it. But don't tell me about it. You don't want to go and see a doctor. It's like, and you feel something, but you rather is like, I I don't want to think about it. I might be sick. Who knows? I might have cancer, but I don't want to think about it. I'm sure it's not. So you shun it. You sort of like, you don't want to contemplate. And it's sort of like, it feels strange that we would do it on ordinary day-to-day life, because the whole world goes in another direction. We should be looking at youthfulness and health, all those things, whereas in Buddhist terms, when you come here, we just sort of like look at it squarely into like, this is what the Buddha was teaching, and it was like, I go towards that. But then, yeah, always remember that we reduce these things slowly, so you move away from this kind of world a little bit, so you don't all the time go shopping and buying new clothes and putting a makeup and all that. You're seeing just like, this is human body, and you're moving away from this kind of like central world. You just sort of, and so that's what it gives you, and slowly we're starting going towards more and more renouncing the world. Yeah.
I was just really love this sutta because he speaks to the men, women, lay people, whereas a lot of the other suttas are for the mendicants, which means people who have gone forth.
That's why I wanted to bring this.
This is fabulous for us because
It is.
It's saying it doesn't matter where you are, if you're a man or a woman, practice this and you can get very far into the Brahma world.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and so it's a wonderful
it's not the Brahma world, sorry, that's slightly, which Vaipanda Sutta is going translated spiritual world. Even though it says the Brahma there, it actually means that the holy life, it really means in this context, it means you renounce it. You mean you monk or nun. But sure, you are moving towards Brahma world as well, in a sense that you are leaving, sort of slowly leaving the human world behind. Yeah, once you practice these things.
Can I ask you one more question? So he mentions about gods and God sending messengers. So generally Buddha considers himself not to be a god. But one of his past lives, has he ever been a god? Because in other religions, they look to the Buddha as a god.
Was he a god in his previous lives, the Buddha?
He must have been, because he's so virtuous when he's born as the Buddha.
It makes sense. I mean, that perhaps, but the Devadutas, it's just a metaphor for a divine messenger, which is divine messenger, meaning that just like, again, it was like you think about death. It's a divine messenger. You see somebody you love dying, and there's like, oh, I will be same. It's a divine messenger. Yeah, in a sense that it's a metaphor. This kind of like, it brings this heedfulness, this kind of memory, understanding that's what we all experience. We all have to experience this, no matter what. That's, in that sense, it's divine messenger. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Wow, now there's a lot of hands.
Sorry, just another linguistics question. Why did Sujato translate nibbana as extinguishment in this case? It seems like a bit of a poor choice, given that it's normally just translated as enlightenment.
Well, maybe we should send him an email. Like, we think translating nibbana as an extinguishment. Well, but that's what it is. It's just sort of like it's everything coming to an end. How would you translate it?
Enlightenment. Just the normal translation, right? That's what everyone thinks of when they
I looked into nibbana.
Read that.
Huh?
I think that's what everyone would think when they read nibbana, that it means enlightenment, right? In like a Buddhist context?
Yeah, sure. Again, I mean, context, poetry, you know, this is partly the poetic ending here. So, you know, translate, you know, being a translator, you make choices and, you know, you just feel what would look like. Maybe this, he says, like when you read it, maybe that it reads really well. I looked to extinguishment, how now I'm enabled. So maybe there's like, so he felt that there was a nice rhythm to this now here because it's poetry.
Or maybe he's just not referring to nibbana, he's just using the word and it's like literal sense, perhaps?
No, he is.
He definitely is.
Yeah, it's just I mean, you could just, I looked into quenching, going out of like total emancipation, complete cooling. I was like, well, just, yeah. No, it is Nibbana there. I looked into, so Buddha saw, like, I can see the end. He wasn't enlightened, it is like he remembers this thing, went from his before, getting enlightened, that he is looking towards that, and then the extinguishing, there's like, and it is a good word, it's sort of like something going out, like the flame going out.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Oh, did you have a question? Did you
Ajahn.
Oh, yeah, hold it close, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Isn't Devaduta a manner of speaking or writing? It doesn't mean that the questions of the Deva.
Well, yeah, the interesting thing with the Devadutas, like the messengers of God, that was it the real Devas? No, well, it says that, these divine messengers amongst humans. Didn't you see a divine messengers amongst, somebody who you know? Somebody like you died. Haven't you ever seen amongst humans somebody who's dead? Haven't you ever seen amongst human somebody who's sick? That is a divine messenger. It's just like a metaphor, is a way of using the language. So like that human, when you see a sick, an old person, that human is the messenger. And then you're like, oh, I will be the same. But it's a metaphor for divine messenger. But interesting, I like the idea of Yama, the god of death, so to speak. You come and they take you to see the Yama, the god of death. And then there's couple suttas when the Yama does, it's like in this one he says, like, what? Like you were going to hell? Like, didn't you realize that you were, going to hell? It's like, no, I didn't see anything. I was next. But then there's another place where the Yama just take a mirror. You go to see the god of death, and the Yama just takes a mirror and he puts it in front of you. And then you look at the mirror, and the Yama doesn't say anything. And I like that sutta because it's just sort of like you just look into the mirror, and the Yama is behind it, like, so what do you think? And so you condemn yourself into hell. You want to go to heaven. It's your karma there, what you're looking in that mirror. There's like nobody's telling you anything. You are telling you, it's like what you see in the mirror. So it's a nice metaphor again, that Yama holding a mirror in front of you, because then you see your own karma.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And also about doubt.
Yeah.
Doesn't the Kalama Sutra tell us to be skeptical about everything, even question everything, tradition, even the Buddhists?
Good, yeah. That's nice, interesting. And it's an interesting thing. I was just translating that sutta. So I sort of, it's in my memory, freshly in my memory. So in this sutta, what she's referring to, that it's just the sutta for like the Buddha saw the Kalamas, and then they said like, well, there's all these teachers coming to the village, and like, who do we trust? It's like, well, like, where do we put our faith in? It's like, and then the Buddha said, well, don't just trust that it's mere say, and then it's a senior monk said this, or it's an elder of the community, or they can talk really eloquently, and it's like, you don't trust them. But it's sort of, the Buddha is almost referring in that sutta again, is like if it matches with the reality, if it's like the Dhamma you should be able to see the Dhamma yourself, that it's just sort of like you can sort of infer that it's like, is this true or not? Let's say in this sutta, for example, if somebody says like, you will die, like, yeah, okay, it's true. And then it's like, and then it says everything is impermanent. Let's say we say anicca, and then you start looking, yeah, everything is impermanent. There's nothing which is ever going to be the same and all that. So you can, the Dhamma what the Buddha was teaching, the Buddha says, like, don't just trust us because it's, I say so. See that if it matches your own experience, so to speak, and then you meditate, and then you also experience things differently. So, sure, doubt, in the sense that don't just take it as a mere faith. Buddha's teachings are not just to be taken with the mere faith, in that sense. But so you investigate, question. It's okay to question, but this anusaya I was talking about, that kind of doubt is different kind of doubt, where you doubt your own abilities, for example. Like you think you're somehow different, that you cannot meditate? Or you think that there is no Buddhas, or Buddha, or you doubt that there is no enlightened ones. Those are kind of like that, it's sort of that kind of doubt which is sort of, how to say it, it's a doubt about the path. It's sort of like it's just, well, why do we even practice? Why do we even come and listen to Dhamma? Well, like, none of this works. That kind of doubt. It's almost like you're depressed about something. Yeah.
Thank you.
Going back to that deeds and karma and the womb and the relatives, were you saying or not saying that, like, the relatives in my life are a reflection of some of my own deeds from past lives?
I'm not saying that your mom is reflection of your karma, or your mom was reflection of your karma, your dad. No, your karma is your relative.
I understand that part. So it's not meaning the other, though. It's not meaning, because I always wonder why certain things come into my life. So I think maybe it's because I've done that or been that.
There is something to that. We seem to be going towards, like we get born in towards the same direction where we died. That you are, it's almost like you step into this one, well, the next step has to start from that location. It's sort of like, it feels like that. It's not said so in the, but if you read things like the children remember their past life, they seem to be gravitating towards where they were, where they died. But that seems to create attachment to that place. But then, sorry, I'm lost.
No, it's okay. I understood what you meant by this is that, but then I had that thought about, do our relatives reflect?
And so I did want to say that it seems to be that we almost select our parents. Okay. So there is something to that, but is it our karma to be selecting our parents? Like, it's more attachment, but it's not so much about your karma then. But it seems to be that there is a selection to
understand something through what they present you with and what you're reacting to, I suppose.
Perhaps, or in that sense, maybe with the karma that we here to learn, and we sort of again the karma that we need to clarify something. We need to just sort of go through that in this life again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And there is actually that idea of that when you're going to that place with the intermediate place where you die, that it is a place where the karma sort of clarifies itself before there's a sort of like you have to go through that, and then that time, whatever that time takes, that before the craving starts again to get reborn.
Yeah, because I sort of get confused. I did ask a senior monk recently about, I've always felt responsible for everything that's come to me in my life, for whatever reason, and I understand, he did help me understand that you're not responsible for everything that's coming to you.
Yeah.
But I still, anyway, I don't know, I just...
Because you're not responsible for everything. A karma doesn't work like that.
No, but it can get confusing, you know what I'm saying?
It is confusing, but with the karma and all that, because you would, otherwise it would be just sort of like 1 equals 1, as like you do this and then this happens. It's just, it's so complicated. And because like for me, like let's say you want to do good karma, so you want to cook for the monks. So which part of there is the good karma? Like the cooking part or the offering part? No, it actually starts about your idea of like, oh, I know Ajahn Brahm is coming for breakfast next weekend. I don't know whether he's, but he's like, I want to cook for him. Good karma. Good thought comes to your mind, right? You start contemplating it. That's already by mind you're doing good karma. Then you go shopping. Oh, I know he likes this kind of food. He's English, he likes baked beans. Good karma. You're going towards the shop. You buy the thing, and you, again, all of this, every step you're taking towards the shop, and every time it comes to your mind, you're doing good karma. You're buying the thing, you're doing good karma. You're cooking the food in the morning, you're making good karma. You're coming towards the temple, you're making good karma. You're offering the food to Ajahn Brahm. Again, every one of those steps, everywhere there, you're making good karma. But then you say like, so you made good karma. It's many times you did it. And the same, like you could think about bad karma. It's like every step you take to do a bad thing, you start thinking about it, then you start taking steps towards that. All along that line, you're making different kind of karmas. And it could be that you take those steps to go towards, and then you're like, I'm Buddhist, I need to refrain. You made some mental bad karma, but then you refrained, and then you didn't commit really that big act. So karma gets so complicated. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Eddie behind you wants to. Question, Eddie. Question starts with why.
Comments and or whatever. I think actually,
when.
Actually, Ajahn Mudito, thank you for the topic today. I'm particularly interested in the last one, the birth, old age, sickness, and death. Actually, this is very important. For us to understand and contemplate this. This is nature, isn't it? Yeah. Understanding this thing, helps us to let go of things. Yeah. Ease things. Actually, we have problem. Ease things. But for a young person who doesn't do it, they want to live life. They want to listen to this.
Yeah.
Or a person who is without dharma, they don't. Not nice. They just don't want to hear this.
No, but the thing is, like always, Eddie, remember that if you didn't make it be a monk this life, you have a chance in next. You're walking towards the brahmacharya, the last committed to spiritual life. You're not committed enough in this, but you've been coming here long enough. The next lifetime, you still have a dark hair, and you just sort of think is like, oh, I should go to parties, but like I want to go to the monastery instead. So you are walking towards that.
Walking towards that. Yeah. But understanding this helps,
It does help.
It does help a lot. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks. Cool. Okay. Thanks for the question. This sutta is practical, and that's why Ajahn Brahmali teaches this. So keep in mind, there are practical suttas, and this is one of them. Definitely, contemplate. Think about death, old age, sickness. You will be separated from all your loved ones. We all are. We all are in the same boat together. Let's take care of each other and create good karma while we can, by body, speech, and mind. Thank you so much. I pay respect to the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and then we end.